Asterisk, asterisk. It was just another ordinary school day. The corridors echoed with laughter as a few teachers and students gathered around, joking and teasing. In the middle of this crowd stood a man in a faded janitor's uniform, holding a broom, his eyes cast downward. His name was Naeem, a single father, a janitor, and a man most people walk past without a second glance. Asterisk, his job was simple: clean the floors, take out the trash, and stay invisible. But today, Naeem wouldn't remain invisible for long. Asterisk, "Hey Naeem, bye, come here for a second," one of the younger teachers called out, waving a thick book in his hand. He smirked as the others chuckled under their breath. It was meant to be another casual laugh at the janitor's expense. Asterisk, Naeem stopped mopping and approached, humble as always. Asterisk, "Yes, sir," he asked politely. Asterisk, the young teacher held up the book, a thick, complex volume filled with philosophical essays in advanced English. Asterisk, "Here's the deal. You can translate this paragraph correctly. I'll give you my entire monthly salary," he said, laughing. Asterisk, the crowd erupted in laughter. It was clearly a joke, at least to them. They never imagined a janitor could even understand a sentence from that book, let alone translate it. Asterisk, Naeem paused. He looked at the paragraph. He didn't panic. He didn't look confused. He simply asked, Asterisk, "Would you prefer a word-for-word translation, or the deeper meaning behind it?" Asterisk, suddenly, the laughter stopped. Silence fell over the group. The teacher's smirk faltered. Asterisk, "Whichever you prefer," he said, now slightly unsure. Asterisk, Naeem read the paragraph slowly, and then began to speak in fluent English. Asterisk, this passage refers to a Greek philosopher's views on moral integrity. It argues that true education is not just about books or degrees, it's about character, resilience, and staying true to your principles, no matter the circumstance. Dead silence. The teacher stared, stunned. The others looked at each other, unsure whether this was some kind of trick. Asterisk, "Where did you learn this?" One of them finally asked. Naeem smiled modestly. "I have a master's degree in English literature. I graduated with honors. But after my wife passed away, I had to take whatever job I could to support my son. This was the only opportunity I could find back then." Asterisk, it felt like the walls of that hallway had collapsed. The group who once mocked him now stood in shame. One of the senior teachers, who had remained quiet until now, stepped forward. Asterisk, "We're truly sorry. We made fun of someone far wiser than us," she said, her voice filled with guilt. But Naeem wasn't bitter. "I don't mind, ma'am. I know how people see me, just a janitor. But I never felt ashamed of my work. Every job is honorable when done with honesty." Asterisk, what most people didn't know was that Naeem's son studied in the same school on a scholarship. He was among the top students, and his ambition was to become a writer just like the father he looked up to so deeply. When the story reached the principal, he called Naeem into his office. "Naeem, I want to personally apologize. We've underestimated you," the principal said. Asterisk, "You have the knowledge, the humility, and the strength of character this school truly needs." Asterisk, he offered Naeem a new position, library assistant, a role far more aligned with his background in education. It paid better, and most importantly, it recognized the man's true worth. Asterisk, in the months that followed, Naeem became a respected figure in the school. Students came to him for help with essays. Teachers consulted him on literature. He even started a small reading club during lunch breaks, a quiet space where students could read and discuss books. Inspired by his journey, Asterisk, the young teacher who had mocked him, was the first to join. Asterisk, as for Naeem's son, he thrived. Inspired by his father's resilience, he began writing his own short stories, often based on his father's life. One of his pieces, titled "The Man Behind the Broom," won a national award for young writers. Asterisk, Naeem attended the ceremony in the same uniform he wore to work. When the announcer called his name to join his son on stage, everyone stood and clapped, not just for the boy, but for the father who had cleaned the floors, endured the laughs, and taught an entire school what real dignity looks like. Asterisk and that young teacher. He quietly handed Naeem an envelope. "It's not a full month's salary," he said sheepishly. Asterisk, "But I meant what I said." Naeem accepted it with a smile. I never wanted your salary, sir. Just your respect. Endnote. Asterisk, never judge a person by their job title or uniform. Behind every role, there's a story, a past, and a purpose. Sometimes the wisest people are the quietest, not because they have nothing to say, but because they choose humility over pride. Asterisk. A few weeks after the incident, something extraordinary happened. Asterisk, one morning, the school held its annual assembly where parents were invited. Among the guests was a well-known education philanthropist who supported bright students from underprivileged backgrounds. He was there to speak about perseverance and unseen talent. Asterisk, as the assembly progressed, the principal stepped up to share something personal. Asterisk, I want to tell you a story, he began, looking at the audience. Asterisk, a story of a man who quietly walked these halls for years. A man we all thought we knew, but we didn't. Not really. Asterisk, the crowd listened in silence as the principal narrated the incident with the book, the translation, and how the janitor Niem changed their perception of dignity, education, and humility in one moment. Asterisk, at the end of the speech, he called Niem to the stage. For a few seconds, the room stood still, then applause erupted like a wave. Parents, students, teachers, even the security guard. They all stood, clapping for the man who never sought attention, but became the heart of the school. Asterisk, the philanthropist, was deeply moved. Asterisk, Niem, he said into the mic, your story is the definition of strength. And I believe people like you should be given the chance to lead, not just survive. If you're willing, I'd like to fund your return to university so you can pursue your PhD in literature. Asterisk, Niem was speechless, his eyes filled with tears. Asterisk, I never imagined something like this, he whispered. I gave up on my dreams for my son, but maybe I can still do both. The room once again burst into applause. That night, Niem sat with his son on their small apartment's balcony. The boy, just 11, looked up at him and said, Asterisk, Baba, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. Strong, smart, kind. Niem looked at the stars and held his son close. No, you'll be better than me. You'll fly higher. That's why I've worked so hard, so you can dream bigger. Asterisk, from that day on, Niem's life changed. He worked part-time at the school library, started writing articles for local newspapers, and even gave guest lectures. At nearby colleges, his voice once ignored was now being heard. His journey became an inspiration for others working in silence, waiting to be seen. A year later, his son won a regional writing competition again, this time with a story titled The Quiet Genius. The final paragraph read, Asterisk, some heroes wear capes. Mine carries a mop, speaks poetry, and taught me that no matter how the world sees you, it's your truth, your strength, and your kindness that define who you really are. Asterisk, the judges were in tears, and so was the audience. Asterisk, and Niem. He never stopped being humble. He still greeted everyone with the same soft smile. Asterisk. He still cleaned when needed. He still showed up on time every day. Because for him, respect wasn't about status. It was about character.